Hello students, now it's the first lecture for the unit, Photography and Social Change. And Michael, we just went through the interesting conversation of the two people, Alice and Bob. So do you want to add something to the conversation?
Well, I think when we talk about paintings, for example, as a way of expressing an image that we can see and relate to, it's quite a bit different than photography, because the image in painting is, if it's of another person, if it's a portrait, then maybe the person who is being painted has some influence about how they want to be represented. Whereas if we take a photo of somebody, that's it. We just see it the way it is. So, of course, it can be manipulated later, but in the painting, if my portrait is being painted, I will want to try to influence the artist in such a way that he or she presents my best side.
Yes, that's true. If we go to art museums like the Huntington Garden in Los Angeles or Getty Center, we will see lots of paintings. Of course, that's basically from Europe. So those, some like middle class or even higher class, they will hire the painter to paint the portrait for the family or for the particular person. So in addition to showing the best part of that person and showing their social status, sometimes they will bring in their own pets, and also for the background, they will add some not so necessary decorations, but related to the family or the background of that. And of course, the painter will be asked, right, to redone something or redo another part of it to satisfy the customer's need. So that's the previous ideas regarding painting. And I was thinking about a case like the previous queen in England, Queen Victoria, because she lived for a very long period of time. So we'll probably see those from the royal family. They had paintings when they were young, and particularly for Queen Victoria when she was a child. So she looks pretty cute and pretty beautiful in those paintings in her younger ages. But later in her life, of course, she lived through until her 80s or something. So there are photos about the queen in her old ages. So we will see more accurate details regarding the queen, regarding how she really looked like, and particularly there are lines or she put down some weights. It's all noticeable for the photos then.
Certainly, that's different from nowadays, because those photos back then could not be photoshopped or anything like that. So those were true depictions of what she looked like in true images, whereas today we could do anything to make her look beautiful even when she's 80 or 90 years old, right? So.
And of course, those photos for important figures, they probably want to stress on the person, himself or herself. And of course, in the past, there were also alterings or airbrushing of all those photos. I think there were like some examples, even most Taiwanese would know. There was a really famous photo that featuring Dr. Sun Yat-sen and General Chiang Kai-shek. They're just both of them. But the real photo, when later others find the real photo, actually there are other two generals standing behind Dr. Sun Yat-sen. But that's what General Chiang Kai-shek did, right, to alter the photos, right, to show that he was a true follower of Dr. Sun Yat-sen. That's the thing.
And I think when you look at photography, there can also be some cultural influence on
Yes.
it as well. I think there was an incident, maybe around 2007, where I think it was the Israeli parliament, a very strong Orthodox Jewish newspaper removed two women from a photo.
Yeah, we read that in the reading.
Yeah, and because they felt that women don't have a place in government and so on. And I think there was a big uproar about that too, because they're two high-ranking government officials as well. So I think culture might influence how a photo can be altered or not. So
I don't know whether it's true or not, but I also heard like perhaps in some certain countries, even the photos of the U.S. officials would be edited. So I heard in the past maybe the state secretary, because we had several women for their positions until now, and sometimes their presence would be removed from the photograph if it's something, as you say, from the Israel. They don't consider it's proper to show women with such high power, so that would be the case.
yeah.
Any other examples you want to share?
I think that, well, let's see. That one particularly, I mean, that bothers me from my perspective
Yes.
and the way I feel, and it quite simply just is not fair. But you can see how not only culture, but religion has an influence on how photos are presented as well. And nowadays, anybody can change any photo, and we see this about fat shaming and things like that. We had that in an earlier discussion about how people will post on Instagram or Twitter or someplace like that, and look, I lost all this weight, or I'm proud of my body the way it is, even though I'm kind of chunky, but this is the way I am. But there's always haters out there, no matter what you do. So, but I think that retouching photos is not really fair. I mean, you're creating an image of something that you aren't, right?
Yeah, so also in the reading, there was a discussion on aspiring something. So previously in the paintings, right, of course for the middle classes, we added something, that perhaps the viewers of the painting will aspire for those stuff as well. And I think now it's the same thing with these photographs, and why those people upload their photos to Facebook or other social media would like to edit those photos because they want to add something that others may aspire to or wanted. So they will take the extreme, not like the woman who jumped in front of the horse to sacrifice her life for rights, but getting more thumbs up for their images. That's nowadays with the photograph.
Yeah, some people are hunting for the likes all the time, and I think people are also looking for their 15 minutes of fame too. If they end up doing some strange and dangerous stunts that are going to be photographed or videotaped, then people are going to give them likes and write comments and things like that. And this is what a lot of people are looking for. I think of it as being kind of sad, actually.
Yes.
Right? Because maybe they question their own self-worth and what they need to do to get attention. Sometimes we call them attention whores, right? I got to have enough attention. Like in the U.S., for example, we have the Kardashian family, right? They bring absolutely no value, from what I can tell, my own personal opinion, to society in general, but nevertheless, they're always in the news, and they have their fans and they have their detractors as well. And you can see quite often that a lot of their photos have been photoshopped too. So, yeah.
I guess that's the discussion for our first lecture. Now we get 2 questions to ask our student.
Right.
So my first question will be, Well, in the lecture, I mentioned an example of a particularly royal figure in history. Can you recall that royal figure's name?
And I just asked or made a statement about a family in the US that is very popular and hated a lot. And what is the name of that family?
That's the first discussion section on photography. See you.
Bye.